Welcome to Tisha's.
We missed you.
Yes.
We hope you missed us as well. So we're going to get right into it. We are going to recap some 290 moments, UFC 290. That was Whitaker and Duplessis.
Yeah, that was the biggest moment because that's not even the headliner of the card. What about Focus?
It was for me.
It was for me. It was the realest part of the card for me.
Oh my gosh. We could have stopped the show right there.
Dude, I was emotionally drained after all that.
It was intense.
So let's set the scene.
Okay.
I wasn't one of the people who were cool enough to get shipped in to the UFC fighter area and watch it live, but we had an even cooler party in my basement.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, debut in the basement tiki bar. We had the, what do you call it, the projector playing. I felt very grown up. Putting on a grown-up fight party like my mom used to, watching Tyson. So, yeah, it was a pretty cool moment for us.
And I mean, it was pretty impressive. You had like an on-hand bartender staffed.
I know.
Catered.
I know.
A la Chef Adam, who is pretty impressive in all that he does.
Unfortunately, he has to wear all the hats when it comes to the service part. I was making sure everyone was having a good time. You need another drink? Hey, Adam, get on that.
Every time I look over, he's like full like cocktails, mixologist.
Yes.
He's like amazing.
And somehow he saw more of the fights than I did. He's like telling me things that happened. I'm like, how do you know? You were making 5 margaritas.
Well, you were entertaining.
Yeah, yes.
You were a very gracious host.
Thank you.
You made sure everybody was comfortable at all times.
Thank you.
Made us laugh. Yes.
Stop it.
You guys make a very great team.
Why, thanks.
Well, thank you.
I hope to see you at the next one.
I hope I get invited back. You know, there's always that moment where you like don't know how you did.
Oh, as a guest?
As a guest. But then, you know, the next invite, if you get it or don't, then you know.
You're like, oh, there was another one?
Oh, weird. I must have missed my invite. It must be somewhere lost in my DMs along with everybody else's.
That's how it would feel in Invicta when I was fighting for them and I put on a good fight and I'm like, I must have done really well. And then they don't call me for the next card. Yeah. But then I ended up fighting on the next card anyway because they kept having people fall out. So
listen, you always fight on every card, so I don't know what that is about, but yeah.
They don't call me though. They wait until they need me, which is kind of a toxic relationship.
I would say it's a red flag.
It is.
It's a bit of a red flag, but like all red flag relationships, you just keep going back.
Yeah.
You don't learn your lesson.
If love and MMA is wrong, you don't want to be
right.
right.
Amen.
But the fights were amazing. I created a great ambiance and we enjoyed some amazing fights up until the Whitaker Duplessis fight was insane already. Unfortunately, a girl that I trained with, Yasmin, she got knocked out really quickly in her fight. And one thing I kind of want to touch on, that I didn't plan on, but I think we should touch on it anyway. Every now and then I'll see someone who's really loved and uplifted like by fans and people who just have nothing bad to say about them. And then they lose. And I'm always curious if the fans do what I expect them to do. And they did. So
tell me about it.
I mean, I just briefly went through the comments on her last post and it's always disappointing. And I don't know why I do it because I know the answer already, but I don't know. I guess I just need that confirmed so I'm not talking about the fans being rude when they actually aren't. But I go onto Yasmin's page and I'm just like, let me send her some love or whatever. And then I see all these posts of just people ragging on her.
What did they say?
Just saying that she's a bum, like this or that. Like it just the typical things that people say when a fighter loses, especially if they put money on him. And one thing I have to say is if you're so angry about placing a bet on a fighter and they lose, that you would comment on their page, you're probably too broke to bet on a fighter. Like it's probably not your thing. It's not going to make you rich. So stop while you're ahead because that shouldn't be making you that emotionally charged to go and badger someone, kick them while they're down.
That's extremely fair to say. It's, there's a famous quote that says, what you think of me is none of my business.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not. We put ourselves out there. It's a very, it can be a very scary, vulnerable, heightened emotional state to put yourself out there on one of the biggest stages in the world, and to put yourself out there, and win is one thing, and then to lose is another. And it's already hard enough to go through and process, all of our own emotions, but to, be added that kind of toxicity in those comments, it's just unnecessary. It's not really appreciated. And I would like to encourage you guys to do better.
Do better. I mean,
Please.
It's kind of part of our job to have a social media presence, especially a young up-and-comer like her. It's a place for all her actual fans to gather and root her on and show people like, hey, we're all behind her. Mexico's behind her. This is a fighter that we love to see fight, so keep putting her there, and we're going to watch, and everyone's going to be happy. But when you take advantage of that closeness, that ability to reach a person that you wouldn't be able to reach in real life, then it really just sours the whole thing. It makes you not want to log on. It makes you not want to interact with fans. And if anyone actually cares about fighters, then they would not do that shit. Like, even when I was a casual fan, before I fought, before I had any experience like that, I would never, ever in my life go on someone's page and write something. I mean, this was back in the only Facebook days. my ID was attached to account, but still, I would never put myself out there because I would hate for someone to do that to me. So it's really just rude. And I think half of the people who say these things, if the camera was flipped and someone was talking shit about them and we knew everything about their life, all their ups and downs, then they'd have a pretty hard time dealing with that.
Yeah, it's not easy to put ourselves out there. It's not easy to, receive the criticism that we do, but we do it because we love the sport.
Yeah.
And support is always appreciated. Lack of support, it's okay. It can be appreciated as well. It can be motivating for some people, but it requires a really thick skin to do what we do and to put ourselves out there the way we do. And you're right. I know me personally, I, kind of shy away from interacting online because it's so much energy. It can be so exhausting to, respond to one person, interact with them, and then somebody else chimes in. And then it just becomes this like crazy snowball of a mess. And it's a lot of energy. It's a lot of wasted energy in my opinion.
Yeah.
But it's, I don't know. I started just getting a visual of, what if we just sat there with our two straws, hats on, and we started commenting on what you do and how your performance is every single day.
Right? If we showed up to your job at Dunkin' Donuts or GameStop or it's like,
whatever you're doing, and we have no business commenting about this thing because it's not our job and we don't really know all the ins and outs of it. We're not like living and breathing and eating it. And we just like started talking at you, telling you what we think and what you should do. And people can be brutal, and it goes back to that hurt people. And it's really unfortunate. Again, we should all do better.
Yeah. Hurt people, and broke people get mad about a fighter losing that they put money on. So quit being broke. Quit acting broke. Shut up. If you lost the money, just don't bet again. Keep your mouth shut. Keep your Twitter fingers away from that. Don't at them about it.
Fair.
But, in Yasmin's defense, there were a lot of quick finishes on that card. So it's not like she was the only one who was getting a little trash talk thrown at him right after. But there was just a lot of energy in the arena that night. Like,
it's that pay-per-view thing, man.
Dude, people were on one. The fights were insane. Like, they started fast. A lot of them ended fast. I think it was record breaking. They had 4 sub 1 minute finishes.
That has to be the fastest knockout in strawweight history. I mean, or was it Rose and Wiley?
That might be it.
That might be it.
I got to look it up. But it was definitely up there.
I feel like, yeah.
Yeah, because it was like 20 seconds, right? Or 30?
30 something maybe. Yeah, it was crazy. I wanted to talk about Yasmin's fight, but for another reason. But it was more so like just another case of possibly, again, I don't know personally, but like the weight cut. You know, we cut weight to have an advantage in some sense, but at some point there is a disadvantage. And she just seems like one of those girls that maybe probably better suited at flyweight. I mean, she has a big enough build. She looks strong enough. Yes, she can cut all of the weight and have, you know, that powers, you know, strength, speed advantage to smaller straw weights, but at what cost?
Yeah.
You know, it's only a matter of time before it catches up with you.
Yeah, the chin. I always talk about the amount of water that you can rehydrate, and not enough of it goes back to your brain when you rehydrate. And that's the thing, like the cushion in your brain is keeping you from having it bounce around in there and then go, okay, this is too much, lights off. And that's what happens a lot when people cut a ton of weight. They become way easier to drop, way easier to knock out. And it was the first punch. So you have to think, okay, she didn't take damage in the fight. Maybe it was fight camp, or maybe it's the weight cut. You got to look at what happened before the fight in order to get down to the nitty gritty of what allowed this to happen. Because usually she's been able to take a little bit more punishment than that before just checking out. So it's definitely something to look at. I mean, I've trained with her and she's definitely bigger than me when I train with her, but I feel like I'm pretty small for a strawweight. And I think she'd be kind of in the same boat at flyweight, but still healthy, which is good. You know, sometimes the healthiness outweighs you being like maybe 5 or 10 pounds lighter than your opponent on fight night. Like if you're more durable, then that's great. And if I cut a ton of weight, I probably would have gotten finished in my last fight. You know, it's that durability can come and help you when you're really down and out. And sometimes that's the biggest difference of a win and loss.
For sure. Let's get into Duplessis and Whitaker, please.
Oh my gosh.
Because for not being emotionally invested in that fight, I was very emotionally invested.
You're emotionally invested. You love Whitaker.
I know. I don't know him, but I love Whitaker. I think
you
Whitaker,
would have his babies.
I would not.
I mean, he already has a bunch, but you would like at least take one to the park in a non-creepy way.
No, I would not.
You take him to the petting zoo in Australia.
No, I would not.
No, you wouldn't?
No.
You love the like kangaroo petting
I want
zoo.
the kangaroos to myself.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, those are mine.
You could just
those are my kangaroos.
Make sure it's small. You could shove it in the pocket or something.
I thought about it. I was like, how do I get away with this one? 'Cause I really like this one, but it's a little bit too big to fit in my bag. So
you need the pouch. I know. You need a little kangaroo outfit. I've seen that before. I've seen people with like these big kangaroo costumes.
Me too, yeah. Right. And they're teaching the little Joeys how to go in because they don't have a mom or, whatever happened. They were orphaned. So God bless those zookeepers. I mean, I don't know if that's their actual, title. It's probably something a little bit more.
Furries. That's what they are.
Have you ever been in Vegas for a furry conference?
No. I feel like
I've seen him walking around. I'm like, oh my God, how cute. And then I realized what it was. And I was like, I mean, that's cool. Like, just not for me.
There's a zipper down there. Like, oh, look at you little dog. And there's a red rocket.
Yeah. Damn it.
Okay. You ruined it.
Damn it. Yeah. Never mind.
Hey,
you almost had me interested.
I wouldn't be surprised if you were.
I was going to walk through. That threshold of those convention center doors and be like, oh, wrong door.
Oh, wait. I love animals,
never mind.
But not that much.
Never mind.
Oh, man. Yeah, Anyway, I know what I'm getting you for your birthday. A little kangaroo suit for your next Australia trip.
Yes!
Oh, man. But yeah, Whitaker, he's awesome. I kind of have a fighter crush on him just because he likes all the same video games I like.
I just think that he is a great representation of what it is to be like an athlete in this sport.
Yeah.
I think he holds himself really well. I think he's a great athlete. I think, he just represents the sport very well. And I really loved him as a champion.
Yeah. And I love watching him train. He's such a technician. He's so clean with all of his techniques. And he's just learning more and more every day, becoming more of a great athlete every day. It's just, when there's one person at the top, or when there's 2 or 3 people at the top, then a lot of times one person gets the belt and the other person is just fighting at a deficit, pretty much, because you don't have the belt yet, and they're fighting to obtain it, and it just doesn't happen for them. That happens a lot with, when you have more than one huge talent that's kind of ahead of their time. So that's why it was so surprising, because Whitaker is one of these talents that, has not been beaten by anyone but Adesanya, and Duplessis with his big old body.
Man, that I was looking at big
that old
guy,
janky body.
He is a big boy. He is dense and he's clunky. And I don't know. I'm sorry. That sounds bad, but it's not he's not he doesn't have athletic movement. If you look at Whitaker, that guy is agile, athletic, quick, his in and out. Even, in the first round before, it started not going his way, he was seeing everything. It was he was in the Matrix in those. Every punch that Duplessis threw, he was, bobbing, dipping, slipping. He just saw everything. And I don't know what it is about Duplessis, because he's not great at any one thing, but he looks big and strong, obviously hits hard, as we saw. There's just something about him that I never think he's going to win. And then he surprises the shit out of me.
Yeah.
Just shocks me. And so now I have to stop being surprised. You think I would learn by now.
It's going to happen.
I'm no. This guy's going to beat him. It's fine. Because again, he's not great at any one thing, but I mean, he just
he commits. I think that's the biggest thing. He commits to things. He'll be like, I'm going to throw this stiff ass 1-2, and he goes, boom, and lands
it's not a fast rhythm. It's again, Whitaker, he has a rhythm. He has his gait. He has his, his stuff, the way he moves. And Duplessis just kind of, he commits and he just throws shit.
He punches through it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he punches right through it. And I think the moment I realized the fight was getting away from Whitaker was when Duplessis got that takedown at the end of the first round, I think. It was just so not clean.
Yeah, nothing he does is clean.
So well.
Yes.
It literally looked.
Demonstrate it. Please demonstrate it. Just do it.
How we're supposed to keep the leg straight when it's the judo-y version of it, or his leg was totally bent. He kind of went clotheslined him and kicked his leg out from underneath him as he did it. So it was kind of like that, and it fucking worked.
Yeah.
So well. It works so well. This guy just has, an innate ability to take control of fights and just hurt people right in the right moment to change the tide of it. In the Brunson fight, I thought he was done. You know? First 2 minutes of the fight, I'm
Brunson breaks my heart.
Brunson's got this. Oh, blah, Brunson at it again, ruining people's dreams, and then bam, out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Just he comes back with his stiffness, with his man, I don't even know. I gotta go back and watch tape on Duplessis to really understand how he's doing this, but it's really impressive. I think because it doesn't look like what we want it to look like, we don't expect it to work, but it works for him. And it's going to be, I think Adesanya is a little excited about this puzzle, because if it wasn't him, it would have been fucking Whitaker for a 5th time, Cannonier maybe Strickland, who's kind of everyone expects you to win. So that's always kind of frustrating fight to fight when everyone expects you to win, and he already got beat by somebody that he beat. But this is a brand new piece of meat,
and it has a great
backstory.
Shit.
Woo, boy, oh boy! When I watched Adesanya walk into the ring, call him the N-word, 50 times.
I think it was 100. I wish I had a clicker.
I'm like, he practiced that shit. Like,
Oh yeah.
You knew he was just in his room like, yo, if this motherfucker wins. If this motherfucker wins.
I feel like Adesanya is just one of those guys that like visualizes and practices his reactions.
Yeah.
Because as soon as Duplessis got the knockout, he's just standing there fuming. And I'm like, oh my God, you're so dramatic. Everything is like, it's a performance.
It's
anime. Everything is.
It's anime.
I don't watch anime, but yeah.
It's a story. Every person is a character, and he's living the life of his character, which is the style bender. You know, I don't know if you've heard of the Avatar, Airbender, last Airbender. He's the last style bender. It's very...
No, I get it. I get it, but I also don't get it. Like, I understand that's his thing.
Yeah.
I understand, but I don't watch anime.
So
it's...
The fact that Duplessis said what he said in his last press conference, for people, it seems like a lot of people are having like short-term memory when it comes to this, and like, why did Adesanya call him the N-word 50 times? What if you called him back? The reason he did it was because Duplessis went and talked trash about all the African champions. At the time, it was Usman, Ngannou, and Adesanya. And he said, I'm going to be the first real African champion.
Easy.
Boy.
Easy.
He knew what he was doing.
Oh, of course he did.
He knew what he was doing.
Of course he did.
And when they fight, it should be called UFC Race War.
And you know... The UFC, ESPN, MMA, like MMA, they're all going to like cultivate this craziness. It's going to be a media frenzy. It's going to be so tense. There's going to be so much on it. They're just going to eat it up.
And the crowd will be segregated by the paper bag test. Do you know the brown paper bag test?
Yes, you're my friend. Of course, I've heard of this. You told me about it.
I feel like I told you about it, and you're like, "What's that?"
No, I remember.
Okay.
I know what it is now.
We can maybe use a manila folder just so it could be a little more accepting. Manila folders can choose which side they sit on. But
oh my goodness, can they? Or is it just straight down the middle?
I mean, that's what it used to be like. But it's 2023, so we can bend some rules. But this is going to be an insane fight. I was freaking out. I thought that was the perfect reaction for Adesanya to take when he got in there and like hype the fight. I thought it was perfect. Like, yes, this is the separation. I'm going to make it very obvious. And anyone who doesn't get it, get on board for Duplessis. You know, no matter what happens, people are going to tune in to watch this fight. So I was fucking hyped.
Yeah.
Dude, and then I was like, well, shit, we got 2 more fights.
I know.
They could go 5 rounds.
Holy, this is a long night. I need another drink.
Yes, I'm going to be asleep.
That was a lot.
I'm like, can everyone go home now? I'm done. Like,
it was a lot.
More margaritas.
I almost put up your little fold out. I was like, just stay here.
Oh, my goodness. Man. So that was a huge upset, huge fight that's going to happen. I can't wait for that one. And then after that, we had our boy, Brandon Moreno.
Man.
Lost a super close decision. I was mad at it at the time, but I do feel like Pantoja did what he had to do. Yeah. But it's still like when are we going to get the judging concise? But it was just such a close fight. It was hard to tell who took what round, and I think we were all in agreement it was 2-2 going into the 4th. I felt like Moreno did more damage in the 5th, but Pantoja just got on his backpack game. I mean, Aljamain Sterling has done that recently to secure his wins, and sometimes that's all you need to do. Get on someone's back and just pot shot him until the bell rings.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like back control, mount is just such a dominant position. Mm-hmm. It really is. I feel like it's really hard to argue. Now, cage pressure, I feel like it could be seen, and again, you may disagree with me, but the act of having somebody secured, your legs around them, your arms around them, that kind of control is different than cage control, cage pressure control.
Yeah, for sure.
Some people say like, oh, that should win because they're pushing this person up. But I see that as more of a stalling technique in some ways, depending on how many punches they're doing. But if they're just, pop shotting, playing the game kind of thing, it's easier to separate them from there. I would never separate somebody that had figure four on the back or mount. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Those are just such dominant positions to me. And
you work way harder to get to those positions. Like to separate someone, and it's happened. And I thought it was crazy. Like in Wilson's, was it Wilson's fight? Oh no, it was our friend Damon's fight, I think. In Cage Warriors, he was on someone's back, and then they stood him up, or on top of someone. They stood him up and reset, and the guy immediately like rocked him. And it's the last 30 seconds of a fight. That could have changed the entire course of the fight.
Was that our friend Herb Dean?
I think so.
It might have been. God damn it, Herb.
I think it might have been. Herb was on that Herb. Herb was on the Herb.
Damn it. Damn it, Herb.
Herb, yeah, I mean, you get so many calls to do a fight, you're going to fuck up every now and then.
For sure. You're human.
Yeah. He's not a referee robot.
We should get, AI ref.
Smart ref. iRef.
Hi, ref. It's coming soon.
They got the, Uriah Faber with his grappling robot. Have you seen that?
No.
Oh.
Stop. What is that?
I think it's a really intricate sex doll, but apparently it's a grappling dummy that gives you feedback when you go for things. Like it'll tell you how like tight your choke is, or if you got the arm bar, like it's a joint that'll snap on it. And it's soft like a grappling dummy, but it has skeleture.
Keep going.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
What is it called?
I just want you to keep doing
it. I don't know what it is. Skeleton.
Ah!
It has skeleton. And it's called the grappling robot. I'm gonna send you a clip, but it's pretty cool. Maybe we could get him to send us one. We could do some.
Maybe, man, Uriah Faber must be doing well since he quit fighting. Damn, good for him.
Robots.
Good for him.
Yeah, he got promotions, robots, gems.
Good for him.
Yeah.
He has some good real estate in Northern California. I'm telling you.
He does. Oh, I bet.
No, he bought that gym.
Damn, good for him. Like, hey, California kid, he's doing it right.
Yeah,
that's what
good
you're
for him.
supposed to do.
Yeah.
He needs to do a class on that. Like everyone else, you can watch the fights, you get to get these skills or whatever, but the real struggle is what you do to not squander the big bags of money that you've acquired, because it's easy to think that it's endless supply of a few $1,000.
Yeah, shit runs out fast.
It runs out so fast.
After you gotta pay your manager, your gym fees. Like, I mean, honestly, like 30 to 40% of that purse is gone even before you make it.
Yeah.
And then another percentage goes to your manager, and then post-fight stuff. And man, it goes fast.
Remember when you thought 8 and 8 was a lot of money?
Oh my God, I was so excited. Man, we've talked about this. I mean, my first fight was $400 to show, $200 to fight, $200 for a bonus. So I got $800.
Nice.
And a free trip to Evansville, Indiana.
Ooh.
In November. Shit was cold. I was not
prepared.
Wow.
Did you go sightseeing?
The one main road. Yes, I got to see everything off of that one. Did you see the road? I got to see the road.
Like, you went to Indiana Road, right?
And I remember they were really excited about this brand new tanning salon that they had in Evansville, Indiana. And they're like, yeah, we can spray tanning. I'm like, nah, I'm good. Because at that time, they didn't have the mixtures, right? They couldn't guarantee that you weren't going to be like an Oompa Loompa orange. So I was like, no, I'm fine. But some of the other girls went and got their spray tan on. And I swear.
Did they look like Donald Trump?
You know what? They actually looked good on camera. But in person, it did not look great.
Orange.
And I remember just like seeing like scuff marks.
Oh no.
And like the warm up area. Yeah, I swear. So no.
That's good.
Anyways, we love going on tangents. It's fine.
Yes, tangents are what the show is all about. You won't get these tangents anywhere else. What were we talking about?
I have no clue.
Oh,
to
man.
be honest.
We were talking about...
Were we still talking about Duplessis? Or no, we were talking about Miranda Pantoja. We were talking about control positions.
Control positions. And then we were talking about money for some reason.
Oh, yeah. Uriah Faber's grappling dummy.
Oh, yeah.
See?
God. We went everywhere.
Steel trap right there.
Everywhere. We went all over town.
But unfortunately, or fortunately, our friend Brandon Moreno ended up losing his fight in another really, really tough, hard-fought fight. I have to say that what Brandon has done for himself as far as like recreating and reinventing himself as a fighter has been really impressive to watch. Yeah. And I know, this loss, he's still, right up there, and he'll be back in the mix. And I know he'll come back stronger. But it was a really good fight. It was a fun fight to watch. I was really excited.
And it always is with Brandon.
He always puts on a good show.
And the thing is, Pantoja's run through everyone except for Brandon. He was able to just beat everyone. Brandon hung in there. He made him lose rounds. Like, he made him work. He made him get desperate at the end. Instead of trying to finish the fight, he was just like, let me hold on. I can hold on to this round. I can win it this way. And he did what he had to do. I wouldn't be surprised if they had an immediate rematch, but I think they're going to give someone like, who is it? Roy Val? Was it
maybe
Roy Val? I think so. I think he weighed in as an alternate for that. So I think they're going to give some of the other guys a chance to get in there. But I think with one fight, just like our boy Oliveira, one fight, one big win will get him right back into title contention. So I'm sure he hasn't lost motivation or faith. He'll probably have a nice long break and enjoy his family and then get back to work and be just as motivated as before.
For sure.
But dude, how inspiring was the Pantoja thing? Like, he was working for Uber Eats on the come up to his title fight. Fuck. That's so crazy.
I know. It's and it's, speaking on that, it's kind of frustrating when I see people have like the wrong idea of how much money fighters actually make.
Yeah.
It's really frustrating.
And it's part of the reason why they feel so comfortable talking shit, because they're like, hey, this guy makes a lot of money. Why would they care about me, what I think? I make less than them in all year than they make in 15 minutes. So they feel like it's okay.
It's because we see like the main eventers like all of a sudden stunting with the Gucci, with the Versace, with this and that. It's because we get like a big lump sum of money, and then it's easier to be like, oh, I have all this money. I'm going to go, buy myself something nice, which you should.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You should treat yourself.
What'd you buy yourself with your first 8 and 8?
I bought myself some Daff Booty Louboutins.
Oh, wow.
I think they were like $1,500.
Okay.
I still have them. I mean, I'm not going to spend money on like crazy like stuff that's going to go out of fashion. Like, I can wear, those things are timeless. That's how I justify it to myself. But yeah, that was the gift that, I bought myself. Plus, with my first 8 and 8, I also got a $50K bonus. So I was like,
oh, damn. Well, yeah. You were living life.
I was like,
you were like a veteran. You're like a veteran in the UFC at that point. You got brought in off of your wet contract. WEC contract version.
Yeah.
I think I got was it a Cadillac? We had this weird car. I forget what it was, but it was the same car that that Nicolas Cage had in Face Off. Was it an Eldorado? Yes, it was an Eldorado. Nice. So we bought that. It was used.
Oh, yeah.
It was pretty cheap. I was still living in a church at the time. But drove the shit out of that car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, way more useful than a pair of boots that I can only wear, a couple times a year.
Hey, well.
But hey, it lasts. I still have them.
Yeah, and I don't have that car anymore. You're still getting around in yours.
I'm a thinker.
Yeah.
I'm a planner.
Just like Uriah Faber. You need some robot boots now. Robot grappling boots. So yeah, I thought that was really crazy. But, Pantoja wasn't trying to make a stand for fighter pay when he was saying that. He was just saying, I had to do what I had to do. I put a down payment on a house. I had my family there. I brought them in from Brazil. So bank account was low. Had to pay the bills, had to do a little extra to, make the ends meet. And I think even if he wasn't advocating for fighter pay, it's still getting a reality out there that a lot of these people who are so against fighters being taken care of, if you wanted to not work for Uber Eats, you shouldn't have became a fighter. It's so crazy to me how against fighters the fans can be sometimes.
That we train for free? We don't get paid.
Yeah.
At all. And yeah, that's our choice. Mm-hmm. That is a choice that I made and I've been doing for 17 years, and it has not been easy at all. It has not. But it is really challenging. Last year, going through 4 fight camps, only fighting once, and I lost a decision.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, now I'm injured and I'm going to sit out probably the rest of this year because my foot's taking forever to heal and I can't do anything except for rest. So it's I have to do other things to make money, but people don't really think about that.
No. And if you can't prize fight for other organizations, then you're at the beck and call of the company too. So if we are healthy and we don't get that call, then we're still waiting for our opportunity to maybe make the paycheck that we want.
Yeah.
But it might be half, so there's a lot of uncertainty when you're signing these contracts, when you're getting ready to fight, but because we love it, we keep doing it. Like I said, we're addicted to it, but it's a struggle. And I feel like if the longer that the sport goes on, the more talent you're going to see, because it's going to have to catch up. It's going to have to start paying fighters more. I mean, the more popular the sport is, the more money there will be for the fighters. So there's going to be more talent when you have things like pensions, maybe. Like Kat Zagano went on MMA Fighting talking about California pension that would allow MMA fighters who fought a certain number of times in California to get $1 for every ticket that was sold from a promoter in California. And that's big, especially if a big show like Bellator or UFC comes to California. That's a big amount of bank for these retired fighters. And people were so against it for whatever reason. And it's just, I don't know. I just wish the loudest people weren't the worst people, because I know majority of the fans love fighters. Every time I meet a fan in person, they're so respectful. They're so sweet. They make me remember why I love doing the sport. But the ones online, the loud, gross ones, are still part of it, And I hope that eventually we'll come to a more even base where I don't know. I feel like in other sports, you see more of an even, people defending people defending athletes, people doing their, I hate athletes, but I still watch them every day because I'm crazy. And I think we're getting there.
I think there definitely is. What I'm seeing sometimes in the comments, you see people speaking out more about and this is the fans speaking out more about the bad reffing decisions, the bad judging decisions. We're seeing people they're more aware, they're more knowledgeable of what's going on. They're not just seeing, the big lights and the big fight, and they are just getting more involved and making themselves more aware of what's going on. So I do see that. We're not there yet, but the fact that there is such a difference in positivity and negativity. I think that's what's really ultimately going to build our sport to that next level, because we do need that.
Yeah.
We do need that, but we also need people to, encourage and support and get behind and like really understand like the intricacies of the business side of things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we need people to care.
Yeah.
Yeah, as with anything. The more people care, the more change happens. I just had a mini heart attack because I'm not sure if I hit record.
Bitch.
You know how you do something and you don't remember that you did it, but you did it.
You hadn't you left the curling iron on moment.
Exactly. It's off. It's cold. I hadn't turned it on in 2 days, but I think that I left that. That's what just happened. So we're good. You're like saying all this stuff. Like, I'm like, man, this is really good. Oh shit. Did I hit record?
Girl.
They're like, 2 shows is canceled.
Oh my God. Yeah, we're not.
Notice.
Yeah. Had enough.
I just had to check. I was really nervous for the last.
I'm really glad you checked.
You can see my face change if you go back about.
I was like, what is happening?
If you go back about a minute, you'll see. You'll see me go from to. Wait, did I hit record?
Oh my God, did you? Yeah,
man.
Yeah, good job. But Jesus. This is, you know what? I feel like we need a producer on set with us at all times.
Just making sure. I feel like I don't trust people enough. I'm like, I bet that motherfucker didn't even hit play.
Yeah, you got to double, triple check.
Watching the camera. We should talk about the Volk fight.
Quickly.
Volk fight. I mean, it was a quick fight.
I think it went the way we thought it would. Mm-hmm. But again, there's always a possibility, especially with somebody like Yair. But I saw Volkanovski winning.
I didn't see him get a knockout though. That's what I was most impressed with. Like, because I think his fights with Max Holloway ruined him for me, as seeing him as that devastator that he actually is, because all those fights went to decision, because one was super close and a lot of people thought it went to Max. So I've been seeing him as this guy who is just technical, doesn't have that much power, just like pitter patters and wins fights, and more of a point fighter, which really good like wrestling skills and grappling skills, but not really like a guy who hurts people. And now that he's gotten away from the Max Holloway fights, I'm like, oh my goodness, Volk, I have not been doing you justice.
I love Volk. Oh my gosh.
I haven't. And I think that's the problem with a lot of MMA fans too, is that they're not seeing him, because he's pound for pound #1 right now.
Yeah.
But I think the fan base isn't getting behind him the way that they should be for someone who's that good, because they're still seeing the Max Holloway fights. They're still seeing the long decisions, the debatable decisions. And Max Holloway is just a beast in his own right, so you kind of have to take away those fights. And granted, like, he won all those fights, so that's already a notch in his belt. But if you take away those fights, it's finish after finish after finish. So Volkanovski is a monster. He's a bad motherfucker, and I'm really excited to see who he fights next. I would rather see him fight another featherweight, just to see him get another KO under his record, get people like really excited about him again, and then fight Islam. But I don't know. What are you thinking?
I agree with you, but I wonder who I'm more interested in, who they're going to have Makhachev fight next. I think it should be Charles Oliveira.
Yes,
for sure. But I don't know if I see it going any much differently. I still think Makhachev could probably pull off the Oliveira fight again.
Yeah.
I kind of want to see them fight again. I want to see Volkanovski fight Makhachev again.
Yeah, me too.
Like now.
Oh, okay.
Like, I want to see it now.
Yeah. I think they're like worried about holding up the divisions or something like that. Who cares? We want to see it.
I am a fan. My vote counts. So I would like it to be pushed up ahead of everybody else's wants, needs, and desires. I want to see that fight again because I had Volkanovski winning, and I was so impressed.
Yeah, it was such an impressive fight, and I was impressed in places I didn't think I'd be impressed with, like his wrestling, his cage control, his clinch fighting, places where we've seen Makhachev dominate everyone else. Volkanovski was getting off. He was scoring points. Like
he took him down.
Who does that?
He held him against the cage.
And he was little. He's a little guy.
He is. I mean, he's a little big guy.
He's a little boulder.
Yeah, that guy is hard to move. No, man, I'm just so impressed with him. He's another one of those guys that I really like, just like I like Whitaker. I like his personality. I think he's a great representative of the sport. I think he's a great athlete. I just really like watching him like in and out of the octagon.
You just like those guys from down under.
It's the accent.
You like the guys from down under.
Down under.
Yeah.
Mate.
Well, we can move on to last week's or yesterday's card. And what did you think about the Jack Della Maddalena fight? He's from down under.
Man, okay, so Saturdays are usually like my down days. I'm like, okay, I'll go have a lift and I'll take the dogs out, and then like I am like camping out because it's fight day. So there's like boxing, there's MMA, always like multiple cards going on. So I'm like, this is what I do on that day.
Yeah.
And I started kind of like losing interest in that fight. But I'm like watching, and by the end of it, they, raise his hand, and I'm like, I have to go back and rewatch this fight because maybe I wasn't paying attention. Maybe I wasn't paying attention well enough. Because I didn't think he won.
Yeah.
I thought he was down 2 rounds. Maybe the last round.
And just had the last surge.
Yeah. I was like, maybe the last part of the last round. I was like, I don't know. But I thought I didn't have him up on the card.
And a lot of people felt that way. So I didn't watch that fight live, but I saw everyone's reaction to that fight. And I was like, oh shit, let me watch it. And I think knowing that everyone had that reaction already, I watched the fight and I was like, all right. I feel like you watch it with different eyes after you already know what happened. And the first round was kind of close, but I thought what's his name? Hurts?
I don't know how to say his name.
I thought the other guy had the first round. The not down under guy, he had the first round. Second round was a weird one because he was getting hurt. The Hurts guy was getting hurt. And then he got the takedown at the very last 2 minutes of the round. And I always feel like it's hard to judge who won that fight on the judges' scorecards because in my eyes, he was winning up until that moment. He was doing more damage. Jack Maddalena. He was doing more damage up until the moment he got taken down. And because it was past the halfway mark and there was no damage being done when he was on top, he never got to his back. He never got to mount. I felt like that should have gone to the other guy, to Jack Maddalena. I need to learn these names. Even though he ended the round on his back. And then the third round was just a blitz. He fucked him up. So I'm not surprised that he won the fight. It was super close. But because judges are scoring more damage now, I think that second round was the only one that was up in the air. And he got the second round.
Yeah, it's hard for me to agree with just the damage thing. Because damage can be, and I mean, not saying that it was in this case, but damage can be inadvertent. Like, I mean, you can catch somebody with a forearm accidentally. Somebody can go for a takedown and hit a fucking hip bone. These things can happen. So I just can't go. I just cannot go off of damage.
Well, when I mean damage, I mean there were more moments where he had his guy visibly rocked, up against the fence, wobbling, hit him with body shots, really tiring him out, just doing that kind of lazy, kind of dazed defense before he would shoot in and get a shot stuffed. So most of the shots were stuffed while he was getting beaten up on. And then at the very last 2 minutes, it was like a minute 30 left, he got the takedown. And so when that happens, I feel like the judges should score for the person who was in control of the fight more often, and if the damage is there too, it makes it more. It just makes it easier to figure out. You know what I mean? And like, I get what you're saying. Damage isn't always the end all be all, but if you get a takedown with less than half the round left and you hold position and you don't try to score, you don't try to sub, then is that worth winning? Is that round worth winning?
I think it's based on case by case and round by round.
Yeah.
It's really hard to say like yes always, no always kind of thing. I know out of what I've seen and experiences, it is really hard to hold someone down. It is really hard to like gain that kind of like control over somebody's body. And I think that and it could be just my experience in grappling, but I always kind of like lean towards the grappler because I think it's that much more difficult to get those positions, get those dominant positions and hold and control somebody. Yeah. In like the stand-up range, like who controls the range, I also think is really impressive because that's hard to do, especially when somebody's trying to get past, you know, your punches and your range and your reach. So it's a case by case kind of thing. And it's really hard to say, and everybody else has like a different kind of bias and a different like lens and filter that they see things through. And again, it's just another example of why we need very, very clear cut meetings before competition to let us know what exactly examples of criteria, what we're looking for or what the judges are looking for.
I also feel like the commentary can sway the fans' opinions a bit too.
Oh, for sure.
Because if you watch a fight silent, you'll see a totally different fight from if you're watching it with people telling you what's happening. And there was one line, I forget who said it, I think it was DC, but at one point he gets the takedown, like after getting beat up the whole round, and DC goes, he could be up 2 rounds. And I feel like that's the thing that clicks on everyone. Like if someone was on their phone and then they hear that, they're like, oh, he's up 2 rounds. All right. You know, like that's the moment that just digs into people's brains. And watching it, knowing that everyone thought, or a lot of people thought it was a robbery, I could see that it wasn't really.
It wasn't a robbery.
I
think people really jumped to that robbery thing. Like it's like the people's go-to kind of like phrase these days. And I think like it would be more fair to say, hey, it was a really close fight.
It was a close fight. It was very competitive, more competitive than people thought it would be. It's also when people think that someone's going to get blown out of the water and then they almost win, then people like to build these narratives about, oh, well, they must not have wanted him to win. You know, they didn't want this guy who came in on 5 days notice to beat this guy who they're trying to build up because of Australia, because he's undefeated or just gets first round knockouts every time he fights. They want to keep that storyline going. So while I do think that happens a little bit, I do think people are coerced to like judge a certain way every now and then. I don't think that happened here. I think if I were the judge, I would have scored it for Jack Della Maddalena. But dude, that guy fought on 5 days notice.
It's amazing.
Holy shit. Imagine him with a fight camp.
I know.
Get the rematch.
I know.
Book the rematch.
I know.
And hopefully Jack doesn't jump for that guillotine every time.
Why? I wanted
to ask you about that.
Oh my gosh. You know what? So when I first started training, I was one of those people.
Me too.
Because I was so tiny. I mean, I'm a natural atom weight. I walked around like 112, 114. And I trained with a bunch of dudes that know what they're doing. So as soon as I learned to wrap up that guillotine, you better believe I was.
Yeah, because wrestlers run right into that shit.
Yes, yes, like, and it would work.
Maybe if I push harder, the choke will stop.
But you know, and it's something that people do at like I mean sometimes I still do it. I don't know, whatever is ingrained in me.
Hey, if it works though, then nobody's gonna talk shit.
Yeah, exactly. But it's one of those like reaction things that like young grapplers get when they discover, you know, an armbar, a guillotine or something like that. They're like, I'm going to do it. It's going to work.
That's my
and they
move.
And they're just going to keep doing it, even if it's not working. But it's just when you get tired, that's when like the things that you've practiced the most kind of kick in.
Exactly.
And so that's just kind of what I saw in that moment. It's like, okay, you can grab it and then, you know, sweep. You can grab it and then like use it to get up. But like you can't just grab it and hold because people are going to pass. And then they're in a position, you have their head and then you're susceptible to, you know, don't say it.
Why not?
It's not a Von Flu.
What is it?
I call it a clothespin. I
was going to call it the Over Saint flu. the Von Preux.
Yeah, it's fine. You can call it that too. But yeah, Von Flu is the first one to get it. And it just like
uses his booty when he does it.
Yes, he do.
OSP flu.
But yeah, whatever you want to call the choke, everybody calls the same moves different things, but that's just what I end up calling it. But I've seen it when I was doing a lot of you know, calling fights, doing commentary, the color commentary. I would see this a lot in the younger fighters coming up. They would always grab the guillotine, and in my head I'm like, don't do it, because you put yourself in kind of a vulnerable position unless you have like these go-tos. But he wasn't going to anything else.
Yeah, that was
he was getting past.
He was getting past, and after it doesn't work the first 2 times, and it wasn't like the guy was luckily passing or fighting to pass. He had this beautiful little elbow cartwheel that he would hit.
Yeah,
every time. Right into side control. Yeah. So, like, his corner yelled at him, and rightfully so. And then he came out and could have been a 10-8 round. I think he got 10-8 on a couple scorecards, but, like, dominant third round after his corner yelled at him. Yeah. So, good job, corner, too. All right, mate. Quit grabbing the head, mate. I don't know. You probably have a better Australian.
No, it doesn't matter how many times I go to Australia and how much time I spent. I cannot do that freaking accent.
What did they tell him in the corner, Jess?
Mate. That's the only thing I can say.
Oh, come on.
All right, mate. You got to keep grabbing the head.
That's good.
That's so bad.
That's good.
I would love to be able to do an Aussie accent. It's like, I'm like, I just need to spend more time in Australia and like really immerse myself in it.
Yeah.
It for Americans, I feel like that is like the most challenging accent to be able to get.
Yeah. I think whenever I try to do anything from like the British, whatever, what do you call it? The British Queens Lynn people or whatever, like everyone that came from the UK, like Australia, New Zealand, Scotland, fucking all those places. Anytime I try to do one of those accents, I sound like a pirate. I always go Jamaican somehow.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
I don't know why. I don't know. Probably has something to do with pirates. It's historically accurate, at least. But moving on, like the guillotines weren't working for Jack Della Mandela.
But hey, you said it.
Was that what? Oh,
you said it.
You know what fucked me up? I was like, I should just call him Jack Della Matadella. You know, just keep it going. And then I forgot his
name. No, you got
actual
it. You
name.
got it. Yeah, you got it.
Okay. Didn't work for him.
No.
Didn't work for Jack.
No.
But it worked for Myra Bueno Silva. Girl. That girl snapped that neck up quickly, lickety split. And you actually saw Jack go for that in the fight, and I thought, shit, maybe that's what clued her in. Like, you know how you'll be backstage,
very impressionable backstage,
watching fights. Someone gets a cool finish. You're like, oh, I should try that. I bet my opponent would be open to that. I bet she saw him going up underneath, and she was like, I'm pretty good at that one. Maybe I'll try it. We'll see.
Yeah. It works.
Dude, she snatched that neck up so good. They called it a ninja choke on commentary. Is that what you call it? I just call it like a weird guillotine.
I think a ninja choke is more like this, but it was more like a...
Yeah, it's like a rear naked
choke. It was almost... I don't know.
Front naked.
I would call it like a modified guillotine, honestly.
Front clothed choke.
Yeah, you could call it, again, people call different submission, like the same submission, different things. Yeah. You could call it a ninja. You could call it a modified guillotine. You could call it, I don't know, fucking compression chamber if you want to. Like it was a choke.
Yes.
Just for all intents and purposes, it was a really tight, impressive choke. She had the, rear naked choke kind of grip secured. It was mean.
I love that one. I really love it. It's so good, and I always forget about it, but it's so good on people who kind of put their head in the wrong position on that takedown. A lot of times you just see people stall there. Like they'll go for a single leg, it gets stuffed, they go to the double, but it's not like a deep double. So they're just kind of stalling out and pressuring in, and that's the perfect time to just sneak that arm in there.
And she did.
Blade nice and nasty up against there. It's the same, I think it's the same one that Juliana Pena got choked out with when she fought Jermaine Durandamy.
Yes. So it's there. It's not always there, but man.
If you're good at it and you know exactly when to go for it, and the other thing is you can't be too obvious about it. Because as soon as you start digging, they know something's up. They're like, oh, either back out or finish the takedown or something so that their neck isn't compromised. But if you can get your chest on top and get in there and they don't see it coming until it's too late, like that's awesome. So that was really cool to see.
It was really impressive. Yeah. She showed up.
Yeah. And you know what else showed up? The patented Holly Holm butt cheek.
I was thinking of you the whole time I was watching this. Oh, look at her little flirty butt cheek hanging out.
It was there winking at us.
And what? Hey, girl.
You miss
I'm
me.
Here.
You miss me. I brought my friend too. Hey.
She's a little shy. She doesn't always come out as much, but there she is.
It's always the right one.
It is. It's
always the right cheek.
It is always the right cheek.
It must be because she's like a right leg forward fighter. You need that push in and push out on the leg.
More developed.
Yeah, more calf muscle, more butt cheek, bulbous out.
Yeah, she's a flirty little thing.
She is. Yeah, she is. Get her under control, Holly. There's children watching.
That is why I will not wear those shorts.
Oh man, but yours would look more fun.
I don't think it would.
Well, it would probably look like the the OnlyFans fighters that we're used to seeing. Not the ones that are actually fighters.
Oh my gosh.
Well, we have something else to talk about. OnlyFans fighter was on this, like, what do you call it? This influencer boxing card, and she gave a little surprise for the fans. But I think we should take our little break because we've had a long show today. There was so much to talk about.
We have so much more to talk about.
Yeah,
like we could do 2 shows.
We could do 2 shows.
Yeah.
But we're going to break, and y'all aren't going to get any of this. Only our Fight Pass favorites.
So you better go subscribe.